It says we're live on the YubTubs, and I'm going to start my
On the
recording.
YubTubs.
And now I'm recording.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the BAM Sports Show. I'm your host, Blake. It is July. Holy shit, it is July. Ryan, the fuck?
I'm going to be 37 in less than a month.
I can't believe it's July.
Breaking news. Cubs win.
Cubs win.
There we go.
That's good.
Just had it up on the Gamecast.
I was actually really hoping that it was going to be some Kevin Durant news because we were just talking about it.
I know, and there's nothing.
So anyways, it is Tuesday, July 5th. I'm joined with my friend, always on the show with me, Ryan.
Yeah.
So, So, looks like Keith is with us tonight as well. Hey, Keith, how are you, my friend?
What's up, Keith?
Well, that's how we can tell the Cubs game's over, because Keith has us on and not the
right.
game. Looks like he ordered a shirt, too. That's awesome.
Thank you, Keith.
Don't forget, guys, we do have our full merch line. It is on all of our socials. You can get that stuff ordered, and the link will be in the description on YouTube. So, kind of a slow time for sports right now, right?
Yeah.
We're just got baseball on, which is rough for you and I.
I'm finding more joy in it now. You know, it is what it is, and I like a lot of the guys on the team. I just don't like the way that they're run. But I like the players. I'm just gonna live with it, and it is what it is.
They've been more fun to watch recently. I will say there's more of a, not a swagger, but like a spark. Like you can see a little bit of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they lose, it's kind of like, all right, well, like, tomorrow's a new day, right? Like it doesn't feel like those old losing seasons where it was like, we're gonna lose every fucking day and we know it.
It started feeling like that, but
it did.
It's come
sure
around.
Did. So, which is good. I think Christopher Morel is going to be a great addition for that team.
Already has been.
I'm curious to see what other additions, not at the deadline, of course, but like, we were hopeful for Brendan Davis to come up this year. Who knows if that'll happen? What is it? Crow Armstrong?
Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA.
Yeah. Looks like he's fucking killing it at AAA.
Yeah.
So.
No, he's high A. He's still far. He's still a couple of years out.
Oh, well, I'm curious to see how all these pan out, because I know you were really high. Last year we were on kind of opposite ends of the sell-off. Like, I was pissed, like legitimately pissed, and you were very high, of course. But like, you were high on the prospects that we had gotten. Like, you were excited.
Yeah, I liked the prospects. I didn't like that we had to do that. There was no reason. The Braves were the same record, or like maybe a game ahead of us in the standings, and they went on to win the World Series. So, like, I don't know. But, yeah, I did like a lot of the prospects we got. The sucky thing about baseball prospects, though, is that there's a lot of them. And there's a lot of dudes that just kind of toil away in the lower areas without getting a real good shot to actually develop. And you never know. Like, that could be the next, not Trout, obviously, but, next white Cardinals player who has a weird name that just comes out of obscurity.
Well, that's because doesn't the Cardinals, don't they have like an affiliation team in New Orleans? They got that weird voodoo shit.
Yep, that's probably it.
I mean, I don't know if it's true, but they definitely have the voodoo shit. So I don't know necessarily, like I said, about the New Orleans thing, but they definitely have some voodoo shit. It's weird.
It's because St. Louis is a town that was built on top of a nuclear waste dump.
Well, I'm glad I live outside the city then.
Speaking of Chicago editions, the Bears news today still makes me laugh. Lori Lightfoot.
Like I said, it was funny to me because, before it was a hard no.
Yeah. Now she is okay with putting a dome on the field, on the Soldier Field, which is just it's.
It needs to be a new stadium. Yeah, with the dome. Like it cannot. You cannot just put a dome on Soldier Field. It already looks like a fucking stadium with an alien ship landing in the middle of it.
Yeah. Like, let's think about what this is. This is an iconic old ass stadium that they have renovated and poured money into multiple times. This is a stadium that they crashed an alien ship into. And this is also a stadium that is on a lake in the middle of one of the, if not, well, probably one of the top 3 busiest downtown areas. There's barely anywhere to park, which means there's barely anywhere to have a fucking rager tailgate.
I was like, you're having a rager in the parking lot? Yeah.
Well, yeah, tailgate. You know, like it's the cons. The history is the history, but you know that's the thing. If you move out, that history is still that history. You know what I mean? Like, this is not an excuse when you've got the opportunity to build a state-of-the-art crown jewel stadium for the crown jewel NFL team.
I mean, I agree, and you could do something cool and pay homage and put, like the pillars. Do something with the pillars outside the new stadium. Like, you could make it really freaking nice. And like seeing was it SoFi Stadium and Allegiant Stadium there in Vegas?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, holy shit, man! Like that. What? And like that is what Chicago. Like that's what we lack.
And it's Arlington Heights. It's not Chicago. Blah blah blah. Guess what? It's Arlington. It's not Dallas. It's. Whatever.
Exactly.
It's not San Francisco. It's whatever the dumb name is out there. Santa Clara.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree with you. Like,
it's Chicagoland. It's it doesn't have to be in the city. But anyways, I got a good chuckle out of that when you showed me that earlier. The cost for the city to do that. And that's another thing. God damn it. Now I'm just going to talk about this. The cost would be taxpayers footing the bill anywhere between $400 million to $1.5 billion, which is insane.
I just don't think that money's worth it there.
And, here's another thing. Who owns that park? The city of Chicago owns that park.
Right.
Which, that... Your team should own the facility they play in. It shouldn't be a publicly held thing. It shouldn't be publicly paid for either. These billionaires have enough money to build their own masturbatory stadiums. But I digress. It's just all around a better situation if they move to Arlington Heights.
Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that a move to a nicer stadium with, I look at Cincinnati, where they've got Paul Brown Stadium literally right next to Great American Ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the parking, like, it's right on the lake. It's just, you can tailgate. If football to me growing up was tailgating, playing bags, hell, I remember in high school doing it on Friday nights before football games. Like, that was the thing to do, and it's just so hard to do it at Soldier Field. That's why I'm envious of, like, White Sox fans. Like, you can tailgate. Cubs fans, we really can't do that.
Yeah, but to be fair, the bleachers are a tailgate inside of the stadium.
Well,
most days.
That is true. That is true, too. So, but yeah, I don't think the new stadium in Arlington happens until we have new ownership. Like, this current ownership is not the answer in Chicago. They're not going to foot the bill. They will 100% let the city put a fucking dome on Soldier Field and keep their money. You mark my words.
Oh yeah, no, it's from what I have read and heard. getting through this September thing that they're doing. They have something coming due in September on the Arlington Heights project. I think it includes a stadium plan and land planning and all that. I think once that gets approved, that's part of the deal with the sale of the team. Virginia's not going to last that much longer, and I don't think the McCaskey kids, have the heart to continue on. Plus, most of that team's money, was it 60-something% of that money is like when Virginia dies, she's got 7 kids or whatever. Each of them gets a equal share of the money. And so it's not like Jerry Jones where he's got oil and gas and hookers or whatever he does. Cocaine, something? I don't know what he does. He's crazy. But whatever he does,
cocaine off hookers.
That's the one. He's got that to fall back on or whatever. Like the Bears' ownership money is like the Bears. That's their whole net worth. That was a convoluted way of saying that.
I know we've talked about this before, just kind of in a chat setting. I mean, if there were 3 people that are legitimate, like, hey, this might be a thing, who do you want to see buy the Bears? Because, I mean, obviously, we've all seen the names like Jeff Bezos and, like, all that. And I know you're very anti that. I know you're very anti-Elon. So, like, who legitimately do you think ownership would come in, do what needs to be done, has the resources to do what needs to be done, and is not going to pull a Ricketts on us and come in and blow their load in the first 6 fucking months, and then you're stuck in this marriage that is awful.
Mr. Mark Cuban. That's one. He's wanted to get into football before. What better venture into the football world than owning the Charter franchise?
You're not wrong.
I'm looking at lists, and one of them has I don't want Michael Jordan owning the Bears. I saw what he did with the basketball team he owned.
The Hornets. He still owns them, doesn't he?
Yeah. One interesting one is Fenway Sports Group. Sure. They own...
I don't know. Who is that?
They are the, group that own the Red Sox, Liverpool Football Club, Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, and recently the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Fenway Sports Group.
This is a bunch of rich dudes. Oh, sorry, Fenway.
No, you said Fenway, but
Finland.
I'm on vitamins, and I heard Finland, and I was like, I wonder if it's just a bunch of Finnish people sitting around buying shit.
Yes, that is it. All of that shark soup money.
Well, and that's how I was like, shit, is the whole, the country of Finland gonna buy?
I would be okay with that if it was like a publicly held thing. That'd be sweet.
Now you're talking like the Packers, bro.
Hey, I am on record as saying I am a fan of that. You
should fire their quarterback then.
Huh?
You should fire their quarterback then. You should buy stock, then show up to a stock owners meeting and demand the termination of that contract.
I should. I'm going to.
They'd be like, Ryan, you own 0.09 times 1% of this company. Get the fuck out of this office.
Get the fuck out.
Could you imagine?
I think Keith has a share. You have to comment in the chat. But I think also, just getting into reality, I know that there is money elsewhere in that team. I think it was Sam Zell that owns part of it, or there's like 2 other minor owners, and they get first crack at buying them, which I don't know if I'd be upset with either way, because it still is kind of sort of carrying the legacy on, but Fenway Sports Group, Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, definitely.
Mark Cuban, I really like the sound of that one. I mean, I'm going to tweet Mark Cuban tonight, like, yo, I know you don't know me, but listen to my show. You should buy the Bears. I mean, I think Mark Cuban's a fantastic owner. I mean, I don't know if you ever read his book. It's a great book.
It should. I like what he's doing really in the prescription medication market right now, too. Big disruptor there.
Yes. Well, he's very much so, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but an I don't give a fuck guy.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing bad shit, he's going to call you for it, you know, so it's very cool. I'm all aboard the Mark Cuban buying the Bears, all aboard that train. So when realistically do you think we might see rumors pop up? Do you think that's something that would pop up middle of season? Do you think that's like when does the NFL, because like the Seahawks lady came out today and said that Portland Trailblazers and the Seattle Seahawks are not up for sale at this time.
Right.
But like heavy emphasis on not at this time, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't say it'll never be for sale, because it will. Everything's going to sell.
Well, everything has a price, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that something that like, hey, if everything goes well in September, we hear shit come out that all of a sudden now the Bears are on the market to be bought? Or is that something we're waiting until the real off-season?
So Virginia will be 100 next January 5th. So January 5th, 2023 is her 100th birthday.
So 6 months from today.
Yeah. And we all know how good at living old people are. Which is to say, generally they're not. Especially centenarians. Which is a fun word to say.
So, do you think we see it before or after someone kicks the bucket?
All right, so let's say, and I hope it doesn't happen, but sometime this season she passes.
Sure.
Okay. Ownership at that point is, I've got it pulled up. She owns 80. She and her children own 80% of the stock for the Bears. So the McCaskey family is still the owner at that point. So it's spread between the children. I think maybe after the draft next year, you hear something about potential shares being sold. But I think if there's any rumor of shares being sold after she passes in order to inject new money into the team or whatever, I think at that point it's on the wall. The writing's on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, so my question is, again, I obviously hope it doesn't happen, but if it does happen mid-season, then she's got, we said 7 kids, right? They own 80% of the Bears. Like that, yeah. Seven kids. So roughly each kid gets like 11 point something percent of the Bears.
Right.
A new owner, true owner, would need at least 51% of the Bears to have control of everything.
Correct.
So in theory, we do face, and I don't know how the kids are, or how invested they are. I don't know any of that. But in theory, we could potentially face something where 4 of the kids say, no, we don't want to sell.
Mm-hmm. What's going to end up happening is...
Or even really 3 of them.
I think
3 of them, that's 33% plus the 20% that's already owned. Now we don't have a majority share owner.
Right. I think that I think that George is going to end up kind of getting screwed on this because I think he does want to continue main principal ownership of the team. I think he wants to own the team and run the team, and I think he's a big enough fan of football, the team's legacy, his family's legacy, to want to continue that on. Unfortunately, I don't, and this is just hearsay that I've seen on Twitter at some point. I don't think all of the McCaskey children would be on board with that because, again, their entire net worth is the Bears. And I think they, like you're saying, 3 of them decide to sell and one guy comes in and swoops in 33%. You know,
right? No, but what I was saying is, I mean that is their livelihood, right? These kids, you know. So we do face really a spot where, but you know, like you said, George. You know, we do think George wants to stay around. I think that's awful for the Bears. That's awful. Like he's proven that. But
I mean, yes and no.
But then here's, I mean, where is he going to pull the money from to build that brand new stadium that we just talked about?
Oh yeah, he
has no other source of financial backing.
Right.
You know, so
they'd almost have to sell shares.
Exactly, they don't have to. So I mean, think about that. So I guess to answer my own question, it would be easier for them to sell now with her alive and sell the full 80% to somebody, and then all the kids take their money, than having to deal with possibly a fiasco after the fact.
See, I don't know. I don't think under very many circumstances, I don't think George McCaskey wants to sell his share in the Bears because, again, I think that he is such a fan of the team, the whole brand, and what like his bloodline has done. I don't know. I don't think that he's the chairman of the team and he's the chairman of the ownership group with the kids, and I just don't, I cannot see him even entertaining doing that because we don't know if it's individually held stocks or if it's in a McCaskey trust or something like that. Because if it's in a trust and he's like the executor of it, like he's the main decider of that trust, there's no way. And I think Blake's frozen. I disturbed him so much with my bear. There he is. Oh. You there?
That's what I was saying. Like
we're losing him again. Wife must be watching Disney Plus. I'll wait for Blake to get back, but you know, one of the articles I read, it was last year, having internal strife about selling the team. It's just frozen on his face. I'm going to text him and let him know. You frozen, dog. So, again, going back to an article from last year. Whoa, there I am. I'm big now. Excuse the mess. There is some internal strife going on among family members to sell now. There he is. He's back. Disney Plus?
I don't know. She knows better, so I know. I mean, she was watching Netflix earlier. So I caught the last little bit of what you're saying. What were you saying there?
Buddy, I don't remember. I've just been talking.
There's a trife to sell now, or?
Yeah. So there is, and this was from an article on Sports Mockery from last year. So you take that with a gigantic grain of salt.
Sure.
But there's a person with exceptional knowledge of the working dynamic within the McCaskey family. Huge air quotes. That person said there's some internal strife going on among family members to sell now. and this was last year. And again, going back to what I'm saying, like I feel like, again, this is me throwing spaghetti at a wall. I think that the way the ownership is set up is it's not individually owned by each kid. It's a stock or it's a trust that is managed by Virginia and George. And so I think that there are members of the family that are like, hey, let's get it go now. But George has to be that final one to make the decision.
Right. So post Virginia, we still may be screwed.
And here's another thing too. How much does Virginia? There's 80% between all the family, but how much does Virginia individually control?
That's true.
Because it's a real interesting. Virginia McCaskey is the principal owner of the Bears. They say that Virginia McCaskey is the owner of the Bears. But then when they talk about with the Cubs, it's the Ricketts family. So it's the entire family. It's a trust that is managed by Tom Ricketts. So I wonder if, as of right now, the kids own maybe 10% each or something. Or it wouldn't be that high, but collectively 30% since they own 50. You know, it's hard to tell. It's going to be a very interesting thing to watch, and I don't want to watch it anytime soon.
I mean, if it leads to new beginnings, I guess.
Yeah. So
here's
the rest of this also says that so the other owners are Pat Ryan and I can't remember the other guy's name. In partnership. So it's Ryan and partnership with Andy McKenna. They own 19.7% of the Bears, and so they hold the rights or the right of first refusal as primary investor if any of the McCaskey stock comes up for sale. So those guys get first crack at it.
First dibs at it.
Here's the thing. Ryan, 83. Andy McKenna, 91.
Right.
Like, we're going to go through this again in 10 years?
True. Yeah, very true. So let's talk more on-field product. We'll stick to the Bears for just a couple more minutes here.
We can. It's our podcast, and we're both Bears fans.
Show,
there ain't shit going on.
Bears fans. True.
Kevin Durant is still out there, just waiting.
Hopefully, going to be a Bull.
I hope.
So we can talk about that on Friday. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I did see today someone was like, "Oh, the Bulls are going to trade DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, Kobe, and 3 ones," and I was like, "You're fucking delusional. DeMar is not going fucking anywhere."
No.
Like, there are probably 2 untouchables on the Bulls right now. DeMar and Zach. That is the line.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, and Zach we'd probably be convinced for. But I don't think there's a chance in hell DeMar, and there's no, like, KD has to green light any trade.
Right.
Right? So there's no way that he'd be like, "Okay, yeah, I'll go to Chicago without DeMar." Like, no. But KD, DeMar, I mean, Lonzo Ball, Levine, ooh, that's dirty.
We'll see. I mean, the longer that it takes, the longer this drags out, the more realistic I feel like it gets to, for Chicago.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, he's made it known that he wants to come to Chicago, or that he likes Chicago. Maybe not he wants to come here, but he likes Chicago. He commented on last year when they came to play the Bulls that he had seen what they were doing and liked the future. So it's real exciting. Like this takes me back to the summer of the decision with LeBron James, right? Like there was all these rumors out there where he was going to go and who he was going to go play for, right, and all this shit, and then it was like a week before like the show where he announced where he was going, that all these rumors that it was going to be him and Wade coming to Chicago to play with Rose and Noah.
I hated that.
And
I would have loved it, but I hated that time.
And then it doesn't happen because Jerry refuses to sign Chris Bosh, which I understand. At that time, Joakim Noah was better than Chris Bosh. It didn't make sense.
Right.
But for fuck's sake, man, like, you've got an opportunity to bring Dwayne Wade back home to Chicago and get LeBron James to play alongside of fucking Luol Deng, Derrick Rose, like Jimmy Buckets was on that team.
Yep. I think he was a rookie, wasn't he?
A rookie.
Rookie or second year, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That would have been.
So that's what this takes me back to.
Yeah.
Is that constantly checking Twitter, constantly.
It's Steve Carell in The Office. I'm just ready to get hurt again.
Yeah, honestly. Speaking of, and I hate to bounce off football, I'm going to go back to baseball. I was ready to be hurt again with Suzuki.
He's back.
Dude, that motherfucker.
Didn't miss a beat.
I mean, an inside the park home run last night. He rips a home run tonight.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not even talking about the injury. I'm talking about his play crossing over to the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
Because he came in, he looked so good that first week, and we were all like, and all I had flashbacks of Fukudome. That's all I could think about.
I have been dreaming on this dude for like 3-4 years since he was like young, and there was rumors about after this contract, he might be posted. I usually try to keep tabs on the Japanese and Korean players that start getting hype, a couple of years before posting can happen. And, I've been on the Suzuki radar for a while, and I'm pleased.
I didn't know what to expect. Obviously you read the reports, and, I watched, some footage of him, but nothing crazy, but it's like, okay. And he came over and he looked really good. And it was just like, all right, like, you're waiting for the league to catch on, right? Like, you're waiting for that kind of cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and then he got hurt, and you're like, well, shit. He goes play what, two AAA rehab games. Like, the dude hurt his finger, y'all. Like, he hurt his finger. He's not coming back like a finger, which we've seen sideline players for months.
Oh yeah.
And and he goes and plays one fucking rehab game, maybe two. And now he's back and raking, like, just hasn't stopped. Like, it's exciting. But going back to football.
Yeah.
We'll stick on football. I know you're not a big college guy, so I'm curious to get some of your opinions, if you have any, on the conference changes and stuff like that. And if you haven't paid attention to
it, that's crazy. It's crazy. It sounds like they're trying to just do 2 super leagues, SEC and Big Ten. I'm a big Illinois fan in Big Ten. I'm from Illinois. Champaign is an hour and 15, 20 minutes from here. Always been a big Illinois fan. I don't feel like, so USC coming in definitely disrupts the Big Ten on the football side, and UCLA on the basketball side to a lesser extent. And I know Illinois football is shit. It is what it is. They fucking hired the dude from Arkansas when there was plenty of other options out there. But their basketball is and has been for a very, very long time their kind of crown jewel sport. Baseball lately, women's softball and women's tennis definitely. But it's going to be interesting to watch, because that's one of those. UCLA is consistently, it feels like, by the end of the season, a top 10 team. And it'll be interesting to see Illinois with in-conference West Coast talent versus in-conference, Ohio State, Michigan, Purdue kind of talent.
Yeah. And I think that's what I'm excited about for Cincinnati going to the Big 12, right? Like, Cincinnati has predominantly been a basketball school until I would say probably the last 10 years. They really have switched gears to more of a football school.
Right.
That is what got us into the Big 12, not basketball. But now we can kind of get back to Cincinnati basketball being good because we're going to be playing the likes of Kansas and Baylor.
Yeah,
and,
you want to play those teams that lift you. You don't want to be playing the Grambling States of the world and all that.
Yes.
Like, you want to play those teams. That's how you elevate yourself. You step on the fucking heads of the players beneath you.
Yep. So I think you said there'd be 2 conferences. I think there'll actually be 3.
You think it'll be Big 12?
I don't know if it'll be the Big 12 or the ACC.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be more ACC.
Now, I don't know that I agree with you there. And that might be biased because of Cincinnati going to the Big 12.
So you're looking at, I look at it from basketball. Like, ACC is definitely the better conference than the Big 12 in basketball. I think so.
Hold on. Let's go top to bottom between the conferences. You have North Carolina and Duke.
Yeah.
Is that it?
No. I'm looking up the ACC schools. I thought Virginia.
Virginia, yes, I'll give you that one.
Yeah,
but
Virginia
I don't think they were.
Is an ACC school, right?
Right, but how far do they go in the tournament this year?
Virginia is consistently one of the best basketball teams in the nation. But they didn't go very far this year. They had a hiccup.
I think it's been a couple years. I think it's been at least 2 years. But if you look at the Big 12, you have Baylor, you have Kansas, you have Texas Tech.
Those are all like I said, those are great football schools. And Kansas, whatever.
Kansas is not a great football school.
Kansas is a basketball school.
Half of the number 1 seeds. Kansas is a big basketball school. Half of the number 1 seeds for basketball in the men's tournament came from the Big 12.
Look at all these ACC schools, all right? And here's why. Big one, Clemson. All right? Clemson in the ACC. They're
Could
bringing
survive in the SEC.
Duke, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Miami, North Carolina, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest. Like, those are all big names in sports. And I think that they've got a bigger draw than the Big 12.
But what brings in more money?
I don't know. It depends.
I would probably say I'm not saying that like
what brings
in
most money. College
but I mean
sports.
Realistically, if you had to take 4
college
teams
football.
from okay.
I'm just saying, you were right.
A school like Baylor with a big football program and a big basketball program, and a school like, Oklahoma's leaving, Texas is leaving, they're going to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason that the Big 12 has a better shot at
the Big 12 is already draining. They've already started leaking teams. It's already started. Hey, 2's more than the ACC.
And they're both going to get their asses whooped by Cincinnati next year.
Well, I hope so.
Because they ain't getting away from this ass one. But the Big 12 is looking at adding 6 schools. So now if the Big 12 jumps to 18 schools, right? They've got now
12, just like the Big 10.
10, right? It's stupid. But the Big 12 is now coast to coast.
Big 10 was first. Big 12's always going to be little brother.
I'm not saying that the Big 12 is a better conference.
I'm just kidding.
10.
I know.
I think the Big 10 fucked up by adding like Rutgers and Maryland. Like, get the fuck out of here.
But that makes them coast to coast. That was the start of this whole thing. Rutgers, especially.
When there was rumors of the Big 10 expanding and plucking a team from the Big East, nobody looked at Rutgers.
No. I was sitting there. I don't even remember how long ago it was. It was a while back, but I remember getting a thing, like a notification on my phone. I was like, fucking Rutgers? Why?
The Scarlet Knights, you know? I just, that's why I think the Big 12 would have a better shot at, especially if we gain those 6 teams. If we gain an Oregon and a Washington and an Arizona State and Utah, like,
I don't know, man. Phil Knight wants Oregon in the Big Ten.
3.
The big money man at Oregon wants them in the Big Ten.
Yeah, but the Big Ten's already said not now.
Not now, like meaning not today, not right now.
I mean, Pac-12's going away, so Oregon will probably come to the Big 12 and then jump for the Big Ten eventually, sure.
Yeah, it's definitely wild though, seeing all of these changes, because now you're seeing different rivalries kind of get split up between conferences.
Well, and I think it'll take away some of the argument at the end of the season about the playoff size.
Yeah.
And kind of the rankings, right? Because now you're going to be in conferences playing teams that you normally wouldn't have played.
Right.
And you're gonna have those. Like, of course, you're gonna have the years where you just, like, Ohio State missed. I think it was Iowa last year. Like, they missed 2 of the better Big Ten West teams, I guess you'd call them, whatever they are, legends or leaders or whatever. They missed some of those teams, you know. So yeah, you're gonna have those years where, like, you're gonna miss them. Like, Alabama and Georgia don't play every year. Like, so there's gonna be those years where they miss each other. But predominantly, you're gonna have better competition. And the argument at the end of the year was, well, they didn't play anybody.
Yeah, that's like with basketball, that like RPI number or whatever it is. You know, it's this weird strength of schedule scoring and all that. It does kind of feel to me, and I don't know about you, but it feels to me like they're setting it up to just be like an AFC, NFC, where you've got conferences now in football. They're de facto conferences.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Set it up this way, and then give us 2. But if you're gonna mirror the NFL, you can mirror the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. Like, put this out. And now that these kids are getting paid, don't tell me that they can't play the extra games. Like, they're getting paid now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You want grown ass money. You gonna do the grown ass job.
I wonder if anybody, because like, we haven't really seen the language, or at least I have not seen the language. I don't know if it's out there of these NILs, but I wonder if they're saying like, oh, such and such got 10 million from X school. I wonder if that's like 2 million up front, and the rest like when you play your junior full season or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, right? Like, and that takes me to the comment the other day about Freddie Freeman's agent in our group chat.
Yeah.
So think about that. Like, you have an ethical obligation to your client.
Yep.
I would assume. I'm not an attorney. I don't know how any of that stuff works, but I'd assume there's an ethical obligation there. So, I mean, but yeah, like, I don't know. Like Bryce Young at Alabama last year, dude, he cashed $1 million in his bank account before he threw a pass for the season.
Yep.
What? You know, so let's go. Like, if we're gonna make these 2 super conferences, let's do it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would actually rather see that. I like seeing in the NFL, you know, a fucking 8 seed grind and have to play 5 games in the postseason or whatever it is, 4 games to win it all. Like, I get the bowl games, but there's so many bowl games that they don't fucking matter anymore. Oh, yeah, I played in the Tostitos Bowl.
Well, it's the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, which that one does matter. So that was a really bad example.
Okay, whatever. the Dr. Squatch Ass Wipes Bowl.
And we're only saying that because they've turned down our application twice.
No, I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying it's their new product, Ass Wipes. Holler at me. I'll help you design those. Dude Wipes. You can have that one for free.
Ooh, I did submit something to Dude Wipes too.
But I would rather see these college teams not be just done. Like, okay, it's a bowl game and now we're done. Like,
Well, and that's the big thing, right?
Like an actual
especially
playoff.
For a lot of the pros. Like a lot of the kids that are going to go to the pro, they opt out.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't need to play this game. Like what? Like what was it? Ohio State last year had like 7 players opt out of the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl.
Yep.
One of the most prestigious bowl games
yep.
in history. And these kids were like, no, I'm not going to play this. Which I can't blame them, right? Like, you're going to go to the NFL, you're going to get paid. Like, I cannot blame you.
Yeah. But it's still, like, again, it's they've all lost their luster. The only thing that matters now is getting into the playoff and playing in the national championship game to these kids.
But even then, I would even argue that as Cincinnati, it was, well, Cincinnati made the playoff, they got beat by Alabama. Yeah, so does fucking everybody.
Yeah.
So it wasn't good enough Cincinnati made the playoff. It was, well, you got your ass whooped by Alabama. Yeah, guess what? So does everybody fucking else.
Yeah.
How'd Michigan do against Georgia? Like, kiss my ass. You know? So, but you're right. It's not good enough to make the bowl game anymore for these kids. It's not.
And again, we're not saying anything bad about that. Like it's
agreed.
They diluted it with so many.
Make it a business.
Exactly. Go all in.
Like we're not half in, half out. Like if it's going to be a business, make it a business. I just, but.
And I want these kids to get paid. But the way that it's kind of gone is weird. It wasn't the way that I would have done it, but I am in a basement in Springfield, Illinois, so there's obvious reasons why there's better ideas.
I wanted the kids to get paid. I don't know that this is the answer, right? No. Like we see it all the time with people coming out of the NFL. They come out of the NFL, they're loaded rich.
Yep.
They've got no financial literacy. They have no idea what to do with their money. The next thing you know, you see them signing up to fight each other for clickbait,
on a YouTube fight.
And I'm talking directly about 2 superstars we just talked about on this show. And now these kids are gonna. So you're telling me Bryce Young at 17, 18 years old cashed $1 million before he played football. So he lived on campus. Maybe he's gonna live a nice life. What happens in 10 years when he ages out of is out of the NFL? And he continues to live the only lifestyle that he has known since 17 years old.
Yeah, since he wasn't even technically an adult.
I mean, and I watched the show All American on Netflix. I think you and I have talked about it before. And like Coach Billy Baker, one of the cool things he'd started at that school was the financial literacy program, like for his team. Like they get really heavy into the NIL stuff on the 4th season. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't.
And oh, dude, you should watch it because it's perfectly exactly what we're talking about right now with the NIL, and like a kid misses practice for like a sponsorship photo shoot and stuff. Like it literally all the questions we asked right now it asks in cinematic form. And he starts the literacy program for these kids after seeing what's happening to Jordan and what's happening to Spencer and everyone else in college. And if you're a high school football coach and you watched that show and you saw that and the next morning you did not send a text to your kids that
what
says,
are you even doing?
I coached for years, and that's the coach in me. I always thought more about making the kids be great kids and great adults, and the rest came natural. Like if these kids were respectful and they listened and like they were talented, they didn't have to be the best on the field or on the mat.
You were there to organize them on a sport, but also coach and teach them as humans.
100%. And I think that's why I like Coach Billy Baker from that show. And like I said, if you are a coach, and I've got a kid that I coached when I first moved to St. Louis. He's on the Cheer Live tour, and he's fucking killing it. He cheers at Alabama, like
oh dang,
huge, like super cool dude. They were just in St. Louis on tour for the show because they're doing like a musical tour, and like I just hope that somebody has been like, hey, dude, like let's be smart about what you're spending on, And I love the kid to death. So Jay, if you listen to this and you hear it, dude, give me a call. Let's talk, and I'll be here whenever you need me. You know this, but I don't know that the current NIL situation is the answer. I do think the kid should be paid. Football, they make way too much fucking money off of it. They make way too much money off these kids. Plus, if the NIL means that we get the EA Sports NCAA football games back,
can't wait. Can't wait.
Kind of looks like Undertaker when I do this.
Speaking of, did you see the music that Adesanya walked out to in the fight?
I did.
It was the Undertaker's music.
I know. I didn't watch it, but I saw I didn't watch the event.
Right.
But I saw the clip on Twitter. Because Taker retweeted it.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
It was like he retweeted and was like the fight was over before it began or something.
UFC champ Israel Adesanya. I'm definitely going to jump in the WWE down the road.
Hey.
The Nigerian Nightmare. Right? Isn't that him? That's interesting.
Huh?
Isn't that his nickname?
Yeah, but there's the Nigerian Giant currently in the WWE. Oh. The name of Omos. He is 7'6".
No, his is the Last Style Bender. Who's the Nigerian Nightmare? That's the one I'm. Usman.
Do you see? You probably didn't see it.
No.
The only reason I'm even thinking about this again is I looked over at the YouTube link and it was showing me doing the Undertaker thing. There was that cryptic video they showed during Money in the Bank.
I did not watch it.
Oh, so people are thinking it's going to be Bray coming back, who looks like the fucking Joker.
Oh, great.
Yeah, dude, it was pretty creepy, but there's also people saying it's going to be Edge. And I'm like, that's a dumbass promo to bring fucking 40-year-old Edge back again. Like, he was just here on the Judgment Day a week ago. What the fuck are we doing?
I keep trying to get into it.
I know. I'll continue to be into it for both of us.
You're
Pat's
fine.
Fighting again at SummerSlam.
I saw that.
That'll be fun. He's fighting bum-ass Corbin. Who, fun fact, if you Wikipedia him, one of his nicknames on Wikipedia now is bum-ass Corbin.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I didn't know he was an actual teammate of Pat.
Yeah, what did he play?
Offensive line.
Really?
Yeah.
What's his name? Corbin what?
Hold on, I have it open. Or I had it open on... It's like...
Happy
Corbin. Is his... Baron Corbin is his... No. His first name, his actual legal first name is Thomas Pestock. Pestock.
Weird. That is something.
So, actually...
Ring names, bum-ass Corbin.
Isn't that funny, dude? So, you see where it says trained by? And it says WWE Performance Center?
Oh, yeah.
So, if you go to their website, you can apply to be on the WWE like you're applying for a job at Applebee's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, seriously,
Tell me something unique about yourself. I have 9 toes.
Yeah. It was interesting because you go to the website and it's like, to apply, click here. For college athletes, click here.
That's hilarious.
Oh, they definitely have a style. So, well, anything? How was 4th of July? Was good, I assume.
Yeah, I was just busy all weekend and watched a little bit of fireworks. We saw some hood fireworks. It was good. Got to teach my son about driving into the hood on the 4th of July and getting some street fireworks. It was awesome.
Nice.
He was just hanging out the top of the sunroof watching them like a true 6.5-year-old boy should be.
That's fucking awesome, dude. Yeah, I almost said, did you keep all your fingers and toes, but I did not, so...
unrelated.
Unrelated to fireworks. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, we sat here. The lake. One of the neighbors bought like $2,000 worth of fireworks. Jesus. So Yeah.
Yeah, but it's legal there.
Like, yeah, but $2,000, bro.
Yeah, no, I know.
And then some hill jack today at like noon. It was like 12:30 shooting off fireworks. I'm like, you can't even fucking see them.
Hill jack. I like
what
that.
Are you doing? So, back on Friday, right? Hopefully we'll have some Kevin Durant news to talk about.
To Chicago, specifically.
Specifically to Chicago. Does not sound like we'll have Deshaun Watson news until like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, everything's quiet on there because it's gone to the judge.
Yep. And I think Ian Rappaport today was saying like we probably wouldn't hear anything until like after franchise tags had to be signed and shit like that.
Yeah.
So. All right, y'all. Well, we are finishing up for tonight. We appreciate you guys checking in. Do not forget that we do have the merch line, coffee mugs, beer steins. Just when you're sitting back listening to us, drinking that nice, cold, frothy beer or root beer, you can have a nice frozen beer stein with our logo on it. And hey, you never know. You might get something cool in the mail. Maybe. If you order it, though, you got to order it. So, all right, Ryan. Well, my friend, that is all the time we have for tonight. Make sure you guys check us out, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. Ryan, my dude. Until next time, brother.
Later.
See ya, brother.